Hello and welcome to my studio. We are going to be doing reductive drawing today. It's a process where we're going to kind of draw in reverse. So instead of drawing with a dark tool on a piece of white paper, we're going to cover up this white paper. This is charcoal paper, 18 by 24. It's a pad of about 24 sheets. I have it clipped to a drawing board on my easel. So we're going to start with darkening our paper with charcoal. You can get charcoal powder. You can use vine charcoal. Vine charcoal is a very large, it's what it sounds like. It comes from a vine. So it's a big chunk of charcoal. Let me grab you a piece right here. And it looks like, mine is covered up. Hold on. It's covered up in some tape, but it looks like this. It's a big, giant stick of charcoal, and it's very soft. And it's kind of light when you apply it, but you can cover large areas with it. But it comes from a vine. So you can either use vine charcoal to cover large areas, or you can use charcoal powder. I'm not going to use charcoal powder. If you have charcoal powder, it comes in brush form. Well, you have to apply it with a brush, or you can apply it with a brush. So here's a piece of vine charcoal that I've already started with. It almost looks like charcoal like you put in the grill, like, you know, those charcoal briskets. You can see those little light shimmery lines in it. So I'm just going to take my charcoal and I'm just basically going to cover up this whole white paper. And then with the process of reductive drawing, you have to use an eraser to lift out the light areas, or to draw with your eraser and start with the lighter areas instead of the darker areas. Now, if you're tempted to use a tool, you don't want to use drawing tools at this point. You just want to use the eraser. So I'm going to take my time. This is nothing perfect. I'm just going to cover up this entire sheet with vine charcoal. Turn it try not to have streaks. This is the easy part. Cover the whole paper. Now, sometimes vine charcoal might be kind of stiff, and it might not give you as much powder, if you will. Even when I bear down hard, it's only going to give me a medium gray. And I'm trying not to bear down too hard because I don't want those streaks on my paper, but I'm going to show you how to blend that in just a second. And let me move my clip here so I can have more paper room. So I have my drawing pad clipped to a drawing board, and it's on an easel so that you guys can see. If you have a drawing table, those are wonderful. You can kind of elevate it and work at an angle. But I'm doing this for the sake of video purposes. I'm kind of lifting this off at the bottom so you can see that. Okay, now, so basically, and this is a spiral pad, so you don't have to be all perfect over there, because if you take it off, you're gonna cut that part off anyway. All right, so basically, that's kind of what we have. It's not too dark, it's not too light. I don't know if let me see if there's a glare. If y'all can see that a little bit better. So I don't know. But that's not really dark enough for me. I like darks. Now, you can use a chamois. This is a used chamois. When I say chamois, I'm talking about a chamois. If you wash cars, you know what I'm talking about. It's that yellow tan sheepskin thing that you use to dry off the car without leaving streaks and lint. Let me show you one that's not used. So they come in like little squares. They're yellow. So this is what they look like when they're fresh. This is what it looks like when it's been used. So if you're about to cover up a lot of area and you need it dark already, it doesn't matter if it's dirty. Now, the only thing about a chamois is sometimes it lifts off too much of the charcoal. So if you notice that, yeah, it blends, but it's almost like it's erasing. So if you don't like that, now if you want to do that in larger areas, fine. Or you can do it so it gets rid of those lines and then come back with some darker charcoal. So my vine charcoal personally is not dark enough for me. So I want to get a charcoal stick that's a soft. So charcoal sticks, they come like this in little stick form, or they come in pencils. Now, you don't want to use a charcoal pencil for this, because a charcoal pencil is literally a pencil, but it's just charcoal. So we don't want to use a charcoal pencil for this. I want a charcoal stick that's soft. Charcoal drawing utensils usually come in soft, medium, and hard. Soft meaning soft, or it'll say S, and it gets really, really dark. It gets really, it's kind of messy. It gets really, really powdery. If you use a medium, it's just like that. It's a medium. It does get dark, but it's a little bit more, it's a little bit grainier. And then if you use a hard, it still gets dark, but like if you're drawing lines, they'll be more distinct. So let me find a soft charcoal stick, because I want dark areas that are not going to be too light, that I can blend easier. That's a medium. And if you have the charcoal sticks, it'll be printed on the side. There'll be a stamp like an S, an M, or an H. And I think all of these, I love medium, but let's see if this is a soft. So this is a soft. So I know you're not going to be able to see that, but it's stamped on the side. Yeah, I see the big S for soft. So I don't use a lot of soft. I use more medium, because when you're drawing, I still want the darkness, but I don't want the mess. So I'm going to, let's just try this. All right, I'm going to take my stick, and I want darker. That's just me. And if you ever go to art school in college, they're gonna, bring this out of you. You may have been used to drawing small or drawing light. You're gonna get used to drawing bigger. And your dark areas will be really dark. Your light areas will be really light. Let's lift this up a little bit. This is the easy part. And then remember, at the end, you don't want to do this now, but at the end, if there's areas that you want darker, then you can do that with a tool, but you want to do the reductive drawing first. All right, so I think you get the point. Now, I'm not going to use my chamois or my chamois. That goes on the blooper reel. Because I don't want to lift up all that pigment that I just put on there. Okay, so I'm going to use my blending stump. So this is a giant blending stump. They come in all sizes. It's basically rolled up paper, like newsprint almost, and then they sharpen the ends. And I was going to show you some smaller ones if I could find them in my little toolkit down here. Let me just show you my little toolkit for the video purposes. So if you have like a tackle box or an organizing box, there we go. I have like a little toolkit here that has all my charcoal pencils, my chamois, my charcoal pencils, my charcoal sticks, vine charcoal, erasers. And here are my blending stumps. They come in all sizes. So there's a bunch of different sizes. I've got this big giant one that covers a lot of areas. They've got these little teeny ones for little small areas. Like if you're doing a human face and you want to get like the eyes and shading in the eyes. They've got some that go to a really narrow point. They've got all different sizes. So I'm going to use the big giant one for the sake of time. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm just going to lightly go across. I'm going to go fast because I don't want it too light, but I want all these little grainy. I don't want it to be grainy. I want it more smudged looking. And it doesn't really, there's no rhyme or reason of how it has to look. You just don't want a lot of streaks. I mean, you want it to be kind of uniform. So just think of like a portrait. You know, sometimes when they take photographs, family portrait, and like the background is faded out gray kind of. Think of it like that, like a backdrop. And this is going to be workable. You're going to be working with this as you go. So like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if there's any areas that you want darker, afterwards you'll be able to go in with a tool like your charcoal pencil or your charcoal stick to make it darker. Okay, I'm almost there. Now, if you are working on a portfolio for a live model drawing, you can use some of the studies that you had previously done. Like if you go to a drawing class in college, you're probably going to have a live model and you'll be doing a lot of studies. 3-minute studies, 30-minute studies, 10-minute studies, 3-hour studies. Sometimes we would sit and draw for 30 seconds at a time. Sometimes we would sit and draw for 3 hours at a time. The bottom is not perfect, but you get the point. All right, so that doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be blended, sort of, unless you want it grainy. If you want it grainy, that's fine. All right, now at this point, you want to put up all your utensils, like your pencils, your charcoal sticks, your vine charcoal. You don't want anything that makes a dark line. All you want at this point is an eraser. If you are tempted to use something besides an eraser, I would say just move it away from you so that you're not tempted to grab it. So no cheating at this point. All right, so if you got the pink pearl erasers, I know it doesn't look pink anymore because it's covered with charcoal. You can use those. There's also something called a kneaded eraser. And it's like a gum eraser. And it's like, it comes in a square, but you pull it off like chewing gum and you can like knead it, like kneading, like bread, like K-N-E-A-D. Kneading is a kneaded eraser. And you can manipulate it to be in whatever shape you want it to be in. You can twist it up to a little point if you need to get little small details. So they do pick up a lot of charcoal. So here's a piece that's already been used. It's like chewing gum. Literally, it's an eraser, but it's like chewing gum or bubble gum. All right, and I have another little piece that's totally, completely black because I use it so much. Yes, it'll turn dark. Or you can use, any eraser that works for you. So those are the two that I think I'm going to work with right now. Let's get my little box situated. And then, yeah. So if you are working on live model drawing, if you have a live model that can pose for you, wonderful. If not, set yourself up in front of a mirror. So I'm going to use a mirror. I have my mirror right here. Set yourself up in front of a mirror where you can look at yourself, look at your drawing without moving too much. So yes, I'm going to move my head, but I'm going to sit in a place where I can see my drawing, see myself or whoever you're drawing, and then you can see what you're drawing. All right, so I'm going to start with my eraser. Let's see. Maybe I'll start with my pink pearl eraser. I don't know, but we're about to find out. You want to lift out the light areas. So whereas you've been taught before, if you started out with black and white drawing with charcoal or with drawing pencils, it's very easy to find the dark areas. It's very easy to find the shadow areas. You want to find now with reductive drawing, you want to find the light areas. So, and it's hard if you're, well, I don't want to say it's hard, but it can be challenging if you're looking at a subject in color. At this point, for the Drawing 2 class, I want you guys to work on using live models instead of looking at a picture if you can. So I want you to work from life. Because if you go to a drawing class in college, that's what you're going to do. All right, so I'm looking at myself in my mirror here, and I'm looking at my drawing, and I'm going to sit where I can just draw without moving too much. All right, so you can just generally, you can always get a general outline without being perfect. You don't want to go in here like this. It's more like a gesture drawing. Okay, so my arm is going to be up. So let's see. So now I'm using my eraser to draw. Now I'm going to have to do this because my arm is moving. So I'm going to have to go around. Y'all see how the eraser is picking up the pigment? Now it's hard because my arm is moving. So this is like my shoulder and my back. And then like my head is kind of, this is my hair. I'm just going to kind of lock in where everything is. And then my face is kind of here. You can do a gesture drawing first. I've got hair on this side. And then here's my shirt. And then, let's see. This is my arm. Okay, so this is my shoulder that's moving. This is my sleeve. And then my arm is here. And work on proportion. So now I'm going to have to fix this because my head needs to be cut off because I can't get my whole head in here. So you don't want to have to squeeze it in because it's not going to work. You got to work proportionally. So proportionally, I can technically only see like, for this paper, maybe, maybe that much of my face. I don't know. So this is hair. And so I'm working on a contour line, but I'm going to go back in and do my shade. And I can't really see my other arm because, all right, let me drop my arm and figure out where that's going to go. All right, so the way that I'm sitting, my other shoulder is like over here. This is that's my cheekbone, and then I have more hair here. All right, that's kind of messing me up. Don't do what I just did. I used my finger. That's a big no-no because you have oil in your fingers. So if you're kind of confused as far as what, this is not a drawing tool. This is a blending stump, so this doesn't count. It kind of erases some of the eraser marks that they're not eraser marks, they're actually lines. So let's see, that's my shirt, that's my apron. Let's see, that's my apron here. This is my apron. I'm gonna have to fix that. Apron over here. I know that doesn't look right now, but you'll see. All right, then my arm is kind of like behind this chair over here, so you can't really see that. But you can just kind of see, it just kind of floats off into nothingness. So I'll just, this will be my shirt behind the apron. All right, now here's the apron. Let me you gotta give yourself some landmarks. So this is the pocket on my apron in the front. And that'll at least give me an idea of where I'm going with this. All right, so my arm is covering everything up and I've moved it. So now I need to, I'm drawing my arm. Obviously my arm is gonna go across here, elbow, sorry. And okay, so and I can't really see my hand because it's cut off of the thing. So technically I guess I could draw the drawing board because the drawing board is in my mirror, the other edge of the drawing board. So why don't I do that? So this is the drawing board. And then these are the clip of the drawing board. All right, now that just gives you a basis of where to start. Now, I have on a pink shirt. I've got on a necklace that's got some shinies in it, but I'm not going to do all that detail right now. I can start with my face because the light, there's a big light over here, and I can start with areas of my face to kind of get some definition. Notice I have not used any, I'm erasing, but I'm drawing with my eraser, if that makes sense. It's reductive. I'm taking away the pigment instead of adding the pigment. So I'm gonna just try to do my cheekbones, which is picking up the light. So it's lighter here. And it's gonna look real sketchy for right now. It's lighter on my chin. It's lighter on my neck. My hair is dark, so I can do a chiaroscuro. I can do a juxtaposition of really dark and really light. My eye, let's see, somewhere around, okay, let me go up here. So my eye is somewhere, this is my eyelid. I'm trying to pick out where the light is shining off my face. It's really bright up here where my forehead is, but that's kind of going off of the paper. So my nose is, I know I'm talking, but let's see if I can put that in the right place. That's my cheekbone. My nose is picking up some of that light. And there's a little piece over there on the side. There's light in the middle. I'm totally erasing, like I'm not drawing, but I'm drawing, but I'm not drawing. Okay, so then with your lip, I've got light there, then shadow, then light, then light. I think that's coming out. I've got to fix my shoulder over there, but I think you're getting it. All right, so there's light up underneath my lip, where my chin is. Okay, I gotta stop talking for a second so I can look at my teeth, my lips. All right, and then let's do eyes. So the whites of my eyes are gonna be kind of easy, sort of, maybe, I hope. Now, you can't get really detailed at this point because, like, unless you got the corner of an eraser. And then the other eye, I don't know. I'm just kind of, I don't know if that's too low. That might be too low. Yeah, that might be too low. I don't know. We'll see. I think that's too low, but I'm about to find out. Okay, so let me get my blending stump. So if you mess up at this point, just, you know, take your blending stump and go over it. But I think that's not bad. Not too bad. Now, you'll go in. This is where you could use your, that kneaded eraser. Like if you got a big fat rectangular or eraser and you can't get little teeny pieces, you could cut this, but be careful. But you can get a kneaded eraser and get little corners. But right now I don't want to get corners. Right now I want to, so I have locks. My hair is dark brown, but you can still see like the light shining on the locks. So you don't want to do like lines. You want to do kind of like reflections more so. And this is just kind of like a sketch right now. And then the more you work with it, just like you're doing a regular drawing, the more you work with it, the more it'll come out. Let's do some of the other side of my face because it looks like I'm getting lost in darkness over there. There's a little bit of light right here. A little bit of light where my jaw is. The neck part has most of the light right there. Okay, now color. I have on a dark blue denim apron and a pink, hot pink shirt. So I can kind of show, you know, just don't pick up as much. Like if you want a really white area, just erase a lot. But if you want like a lighter gray, just erase a little bit. So maybe since we're drawing in black and white here, I can just do a little bit there. Now let me go back to this shoulder over here because this is not working. And since it's not working, I'm going to get my piece of charcoal I had. And I'm going to come back in and, because I was moving my arm and it made my shoulder like stick out, and now it's not sticking out. So if I'm going to have my arm like this, it's a little bit, like if you need to adjust. All right, so that's kind of like my background, but let me go back. So I'm kind of like taking that, it's like I'm erasing the eraser. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so if you mess up, just take your blending stump and just, it's like you're erasing with the black stuff. All right, now get my eraser again. And my shirt is kind of, see, I'm moving my arm and that makes my shirt move. So I know my shirt sleeve is like here. So I'm gonna carve that out. There's a little white there. I'm gonna, oh, it's almost time to go. So I'm gonna have to just finish this just a little bit. So, but you get the point. So you have to keep working with this as much as you would work with it with a regular drawing. So that's my shirt. And then there's shirt here, and there's like, you know, wrinkles, not wrinkles, but well, yeah, like, you know what I'm talking about, like folds. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so that's my shirt. But you're getting the point, I think. And then let's give a little definition over here to this side of the shirt so you'll see what's going on around my hair. And then that was apron and this is shirt. Okay, so you're kind of getting the point. So I just drew a brief sketch of myself with an eraser. Now, when you get to the part where you have developed this to where you want it, then you can go back. Then you can go back in, only then, and you can add your shadows or your darker areas. You know, I'm not finished, but then you can go back in and you can get more definition. That would be my apron. You can even darken the background some, but you get the point, and then it'll start popping out. All right, but we're going to stop there for our first session of reductive drawing. I hope you enjoyed our session today. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.